Hey, the lone top 10s here. The old religions had a lot of gods. We made gods for every single thing we thought might be powerful and important. We saw thunder rolling over the clouds, and we made gods of thunder. We saw the waves of the sea crash into the coastline, and we made gods of water. But we didn't stop there, guys. Just remember that. There were other gods that never became quite as popular as Zeus and Poseidon. We made gods for almost everything you could possibly imagine, from door hinges to, I don't know, microphones, for example. Including some gods you never have guessed we needed. So this list will cover up the 10, pretty weirdly specific gods that mythology classes, if you're in high school or middle school, that they left out. Number 10. Cardia, the Roman goddess of door hinges. Goddess of the hinge? Wrote the Roman writer Ovid, praising the great deity, Carda. She opens the closed by her power, closes the open. The goddess Carda, ruler over things hinged, well, 100% things hinged, and upon doors, isn't particularly popular today, but she was a big part of the Roman religion. She wasn't just a minor deity or luck charm. She was part of the Roman pantheon of gods, complete with her own mythological backstory. Like most Roman stories, her story begins with the god Janus trying to have sex with somebody. He targeted Cardia, who was into it. So she told him that she would meet him in the cave. Then she used magical vanishing powers and tried to run away. It didn't work. Janus found her, and then, well, you don't really want to know what happened next. Let's just say that Roman myths have a tendency not to turn out well for women. So, what he has done with her, Janus declared. In return for our dalliance, be fine the control of hinges. Then he gave her a magical hawthorn branch that repelled evil and declared that people must eat beans and pork in her honor every June 1st, which apparently the Romans believed was the best way to make a woman feel special. Interesting. Number 9. This weird thing called Samrimya, the Norse pig of eternal bacon. Yes! So, as is written in the Old Norse Poetic Edda, Sarimnar, the boar, is boiled, the best of bacons. The Norse knew that no religion was complete without bacon. After all, they couldn't worship gods who sell for the garbage we mortals eat. The gods needed divine food, and that's where that pig comes in. So that pig, Sarimnar, is the best tasting pig in the entire universe, and the one that happens to have the worst life. Every night, the Norse gods boils, Sarimnar's flesh and eats it. The poor pig is awoken every night by the return of a group of very drunk Vikings, who dump him into a vat of boiling water and hold a big feast. He has to put up with the entire pantheon of Norse gods ripping off his body parts until they're full. Alright, then in the morning, he comes back to life and gets killed again, like a time loop, for example. It's a horrible life. But in the world of Vikings, that's the price you pay for being delicious. Interesting. I never even knew about this, just till today. So, anyway. Number 8. Mat Shishkapu, the inner spirit of, you guessed it, farts. Now, according to the traditional beliefs of the Native American Innu people, spirits speak to the living. Some talk through drums, others come to us in dreams, and one of them, Matshishkepu, speaks to us through, you guessed it, farts. Now, Matshishkepu, the Innu said, spoke to them with great frequency, especially when men are alone without women. Every fart, they believed, was Matshishkepu giving them a message. A sudden fart required immediate translation. If someone let out one slip, an elder would have to rush over to let everybody know what the fart sounded like. Sometimes, though, that was easier said than done. Matshishpu's utterance are usually cryptic. One Innu hunter said, "You have to concentrate hard in order to understand what is being said." Alright, this next one may be a little bit inappropriate, so again, I should say, viewer discretion is advised. So, number 7. This thing named Zychipioi, the Aztec god of gay prostitutes. That word that I just said is an inappropriate. Sorry guys, just taking off my socks. But, anyway, like I said, that is a viewer discretion's advice thing. So, a lot of religions have gods of homosexuality, but the Aztecs got a bit more specific. It wasn't enough for them to have a god of gay men. They needed a god for the gay men who could have sex for money. And so that god came to be. So, Zychipioi was more than just a god of gigolos. He was actually multi-purpose. He was also called the Prince of Flowers. Flowers, though, doesn't seem to be roses or daisies. Instead, it meant flowers that could get you high. And that is the dangerous one. His statues were covered with psychoactive flowers and mushrooms. The statues also showed up with a facial expression that made it clear he was absolutely blasted out of his mind. This means that he wasn't just the gay prostitutes god, he was also the gay of hallucinogens too. You gotta be careful with that one, especially if you live in Mexico. That's where Aztecs normally form up, guys. Whatever I just said is a true fact. Alright, so. Anyway. Next thing we want to talk about, number 6, is the golden, or not golden, the global pantheon of poop gods. There were gods of poop too, but there were so many that it's hard to narrow it down to a single religion. Japan probably went the furthest with it, although they're atheists today. Well, most of them are. Some of them ain't. You can practice any religion in Japan, but you can't in China. So, they made a whole pantheon of poop gods and spirits. But they weren't the only ones. The Chinese had Gigu, or Zigu, the goddess of poop. Women could leave an image of Zigu by the toilet, and in return for her devotion, she would answer their questions. The Babylonians had Shed Bet-Ha-Kis, a vengeful toilet god, who cursed anyone who had sex near a toilet by giving them epilepsy. And the Romans had actually had 2 such gods. They had Sterquinius, an ordinary god of manure, and Clocenia, or Clocina, the gods of the sewer system, if you think about it. Number 5, Sapona, the Yoruban god of smallpox. Now, the Yoruba people of West Africa believed in Sapona, the god of smallpox. You do not want this guy, guys. Toward the end of the 19th century, Sapona had a whole cult worshiping him. But they were much happier about what they had, about what he did than they should have been. Alright, Sapona's cult extorted money from people by threatening to curse them. If someone didn't pay up, cult members went over to that person's house and scraped or scraped smallpox scabs on the person. Alternatively, the cult powdered the scabs and rubbed them all over the person's windows. When doctors began to vaccinate people against the disease, the cult of Sapona saw it as their divine duty to stop the vaccinations. They threatened people and ran active campaigns to keep smallpox alive, which is pretty deadly. After the cult was taken down, they started a lot of major epidemics. But again, pretty stupid. Number 4, Terminus, the Roman god of mileposts. So, Terminus was one of the very first gods created by the Romans. He was god of landmarks, and of the stones placed by Romans on battery lines, and he was not to be crossed. His stones were called termini, and if you moved one, you were in trouble. The moment you pushed down a terminus out of place, every person in Rome had the legal right to hunt you down and murder you. That's right, guys, murder. Alright. So, simply dying, though, was a lucky fate for someone who angered Terminus. The inscriptions on his stories promised something even worse. Whoever shall take away this, or shall order it to be taken away, he may die the last of his family. That is nuts, guys. Trust me. Number 3. How do you say this? It's called Zolcial. I think that's how you say. I don't think I said that right, but that is the Aztec goddess of eating dirt. And yes, that sounds nasty. But in our work, that god is usually depicted with brown all over her mouth. She is, after all, the divine dirt eater of the Aztec gods. That dirt, though, wasn't stuff that you found on the ground. It was a euphemism. That was actually the eater of divine excrement, which is another word for poop. And yes, that sounds very gross. Alright, that's why I said eating dirt was nasty. Alright, there's an explanation for this one that actually makes a lot more sense than you expect. Tezcatlipoca, the Aztecs believed, was a divine being who ate all waste. That included the decaying bodies of the dead, fruit, vegetables, and yes, excrement. She was a goddess of decomposition. Still, it's a little weird that the Aztecs worshipped a goddess who spent her time eating poop. Literally, that's just very nasty. But she had a second job, though, that makes things a bit better. In what might have been a rare stroke of Aztec generosity, they also made her the goddess of steam baths, which she could probably have used all that after that, if you think about it. Number 2, Kafio, the Hadean god of intersections. So, the god of intersections. Sounds kinda cheesy, but Kafio is actually a very terrifying god. You don't want to be nearby. So, he is the Hadean Voodoo, or aka Voodoo, equivalent of Satan. Although he technically rules over intersections, it's more like a devil at the crossroads thing. Kind of way than a wait for the green light to go kind of way. Alright. Kafio is a red demonic beast who drinks some rum infused with gunpowder to pass the time. He controls the evil forces of the spirit world and the malevolent spirits of the night. He's a demonic creature who possesses people and controls the passage of spirits into the real world. All that responsibility for an intersections god makes Voodoo unique. When the Hadeans were looking for their most powerful gods, they didn't look to the sun, the moon, the earth, or the sea. They looked at the intersections. Number 1. The unknown god, the Greek god of miscellanea. Alright, to make sure they didn't leave anything out, the Greeks came up with this very stupid god, I honestly think. It's called the unknown god, or the god of literally everything they forgot to mention. This is sort of a placeholder god, if you think about it. Who was used for everything they hadn't thought up yet. Like, my ex-girlfriend, for example. Really, I don't, so. They started worshipping the unknown god after Athens was hit by a plague. No matter how many animals they ritually slaughtered, the plague didn't go away. And ritual slaughtering animals was all they knew how to do. So the Greeks tried a bit something different. They sent a flock of sheep into a field, made an altar to all the miscellaneous, unspecific gods, and slaughtered the sheep, hoping that this act would appease whichever god they never even heard of. Alright, so, that's pretty much about it, guys. That's pretty much about it. So, if you have any other very silly or specific gods that are pretty weird, just let me know in the comments section down below. Alright, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, ring that notification bell, ding ding ding. Alright, give this video a thumbs up, and, well, as if obvious, support me on Patreon, okay? Thanks for watching, and see you guys next time.